All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Oshi no Ko, Season 2, Episode 8. The play is in full swing. Let's get Kana in the spotlight.
We'll drag her into the spotlight.
Right. Kicking
together.
And screaming. Well, not quite, but yeah.
Well, yeah. We know what's going to make her the most happy as far as being a performer. We also know what she wants from a professional standpoint because she's terrified of being back in that place where she was in her past. We know a lot more about Akane's situation, though, and we know why she wants Kana in the spotlight here, someone that she can defeat on the terms of Kana giving it her all as a performer.
Because otherwise it's not a real fight.
It's not a real fight then. You're just basically folding for the purpose of the performance, the show, and what have you.
Yeah.
And that's not what she wants. Now, can they both get what they want while Aqua is trying to do his thing like he did in Sweet Today, but instead here in a much more live performance here? Like, this is going to be really tricky.
That will be tricky.
And then also dealing with his own emotional trauma and stuff that would actually be brought up versus, their stuff, which is, it's just, just some childhood, pain and anguish and stuff. Whereas for him, it's like, my mother was brutally murdered and died in my arms. I died in her arms, but it's gonna be just fine. But y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. Yeah, let me overact these feelings, and it's gonna look just fine. Yeah.
Right, especially for the type of character he is.
Right. He's like, oh, that's how you see that. Nice.
I'm so good I don't need to see them. That's true.
Right.
Cool.
All
right.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, this is the area that you're not really familiar with, Kana,
I mean, this is the arc where she dies, so to an extent that makes sense.
Wait, but the sound effect, though. Right, very dramatic body movements, yeah. That's so cool with the lighting.
Yeah.
Right, he stands out, Yep. Right. Very
It
cool.
becomes a choice then.
Whoa.
Oh. Wait, literally throw her into the spotlight. Okay. Okay, but like, don't let it drag on too long. I'm curious what the mangaka's response to this is. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Uh-huh. There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love the piano.
It's done for you. He cares about you. And also, you guys have done a lot of stuff like this where he's tried to set you up the best way he can. Oh. She's got even like a Shinzo. So I was like,
yeah.
Bit here.
Oh.
Whoa.
Oh no, one of these.
Yeah.
Entrusted, huh?
Right, because you get to see your mom being happy, but
right.
Oh no, what happens when all the work dries up?
But
it was.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Wow. You can see the trash starting to pile up.
Yeah.
This is why she lived alone.
Oh, shit.
Wow. Oh, Kana. Sure.
That makes a lot of sense.
A lot of people just don't want to work with kids because they're so chaotic, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, but I don't enjoy it.
I can't go over there because if I do that,
right,
I might make other people not like me. Yeah. Yeah, someone else was focused on that. Yeah. Come on, let's go. Yeah.
Yeah, trust them in their competence to be able to handle it.
Yeah! Full of color and everything.
Wow, this is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, let's go.
Oh my gosh.
I love how carefree it is, you know?
She's free. It's like she was...
Yeah. I'll bet it does.
Oh. Oh. And hearing in the voice of her when she was a kid. That's your hero. Yeah.
The fangirl's coming back.
Yeah, exactly. Oh.
Nice.
Oh, this is so perfect. Right. Oh my god. What are these special effects?
Nice.
Oh, it's happening. Yep.
This is it. I love how we see it there, like, because she envisions it, you know?
Right. This is going to be something you can stop once you start Aqua.
Yeah, is that all? I was asking Aqua, the person.
Right. Oh, I'm so excited. Let's go. Nope. Yep. Very, very common.
I know exactly what the trigger is.
Yep. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Still sus about you and your folders and everything, but... Wow.
Yeah.
Picked it all up.
You know,
You could.
That would
you
be
know,
a good idea. Would she not care either?
Oh. Sole purpose for living. Jeez. Mm-hmm. Oh, the visage of a person in the midst of that. Because it's such an involved process, yeah.
Well, and it makes it so that it's not, like, it doesn't take discipline to practice then, because you love it.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Okay, hold a grip, though. Hold a grip, though. Even if it's just 2 fingers, hold the grip. Mm-hmm. Whoa! Oh!
Okay. All right.
Wow!
Yeah, that's a fitting title for the episode.
Very fitting title.
Okay.
That was a wonderful episode. I love how much time they're giving to this play. Mm-hmm. This play is just continuing to build and build and build upon itself, and we're giving nice, punchy resolution in every single episode to one or more of the characters' primary conflicts here. They're all internal. This acting is becoming therapy. Except for
exposure.
Except for one of them. Mm-hmm. And I fucking love it because... Well, Aqua's the main character here. He's one of the main characters here. This is kind of his at least focus arc with regards to him and Ruby. Mm-hmm. He's still taking a back seat in the actual character development side of things because Kana and Akane are the ones primarily doing that. So the idea that we learned even more this episode about why her parents weren't in the picture.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Well, that makes perfect sense. We've got the classic child actress.
With the parent that, is not... is biased.
Oh, they're so biased. But not only that, they wanted to do this, and then they, gave like the dream to you so that you would carry it forward for me.
Yep.
Oh, I cannot tell you what drives me up a wall more than theater moms pushing their child into acting at any cost, and sport dads. Those are the two. Those are the two. You can have sport moms and you can have theater dads too. But the idea that those are the two that drive me up a fucking wall, because I did both. I did both. And I cannot tell you how many times I saw one of my peers crying in the hallway or, outside the dugout because, they're getting berated by this fully grown adult, like staring down at them over them here, not screaming, but like menacingly growling at their child. And it's like, you do not deserve to be a parent.
No.
Anyway, that's my rant over.
And what I love about this is that is absolutely something that was there. And yet that's not primarily what Kana actually focuses on.
No,
the first thing that she brings up is she's like, no, my mother actually, because she was, needing it to be something that happened for her, right? She actually made it more difficult for me, because then she started basically getting like very demanding with the production people of like, you need to give her more screen time. You need to do all this. All the kind of stuff that the the classic, like theater mom maybe will do, even in a situation where there's a reason maybe why they don't get the part, right?
Well, it's what Kana was doing as a child to all of the people in season 1.
Right.
She was basically being like, I demand all this stuff of me.
Yep.
And it's like, oh no, that's why. That's why. She was modeling that off of her mom.
Right. Yep. And then on top
God.
of that, there's the whole thing of, the love being conditional, and you're a mechanism by which I can basically renege on my regrets.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, marriage falls apart.
Oh yeah, I love also the detail that it was a very clear her dad was disgusted with who her mom had become. There's no clear picture of what the dad's life connection was with Kana in those moments when she was succeeding in acting and stuff like that.
Yep.
But Kana calls it one of the best moments of her life, the most fun, the happiest moments of her life, because in a lot of ways of how much joy her mom was having with her.
Right.
So there's still that connection of like, wait, so the dad wasn't even really involved in any of that stuff.
Yeah,
like,
the fact that it's like, okay, maybe, we only want to have one primary character that's Kana's connection point in the past.
No, I'm not talking about the... obviously from the meta standpoint, yeah.
But also, hey, if you do that, maybe that's also because the other character is not having much of a presence,
No, you're missing the point of what I'm trying to get at here, is that she did not have any negative association with her dad.
Right.
None in this entire backstory here. And yet he wasn't involved in any of that stuff here. It's to show how bad it got with her mom. It got so bad with her mom that we don't even have room to talk about the dad. He was just a neutral, general, he was probably a dad that worked and, was busy and stuff. But, whenever they had dinner or what have you or something like that, he probably wasn't a negative influence or a crazy...
He was probably supportive. And,
he was just probably a regular guy.
Right.
But I just love that it's the idea that, oh shit, but he then ends up shattering the family, shattering Kana's stability and consistency and place of safety because of how bad the mom was getting here.
And yet there's no animosity towards the dad.
And there's no animosity towards him.
Because it's basically this understanding that the stability was already shattered.
Right, the mom destroyed it.
Right, and then the collateral, the aftermath is that, the marriage falls apart, right?
Right. I would love to have later in the show, long term later, where we find out does she have phone calls with her dad or something? Do they have at least some kind of relationship? But either way, just the idea that we framed the entire backstory in that way, and there might have been more that was cut from the manga or what have you, but just that's how bad it got.
Yep. The other thing that I want to see moving forward, if we get it, is what the situation was like wherever Kana lived, because we know that the mom went down this path, right? But she's a child actress, so she could clearly financially take care of herself just fine.
I have info about that specifically because I'm rewatching season 1.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, season 2 has been so good that I've been watching the first season over again with my wife, and Kana has a very immediate, fast connection to Aqua when she finds out that he's still acting. When she sees him again at the school, and she's so excited to become friends with him, basically, because he didn't give up and what have you. She even invites him back to her place, and he's like, that's a little quick, don't you think?
Oh, right.
Then we see her alone at her place, surrounded by garbage bags in a dark room.
Oh, yeah.
By herself. She lives alone by herself and makes a point of, I think actually to the director later, that oh yeah, I just Uber Eats all the time. And then he's like, wow, that's expensive. Not, whoa, that's kind of lonely.
Right.
The idea that she's just surrounded by empty food containers in garbage bags until garbage day comes around and she can get rid of them and stuff.
Damn.
But that's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's brutal.
It's just so lonely. So the idea that acting being a thing where we frame it in this episode where it can be a source of happiness. Kana doesn't allow acting to be a source of happiness really for her because she was taught by not only her mother, but by her whole growth as an actress to be that no, your acting ability and your enjoyment of acting is not important. It's the value of the production and what you add to
It's a job.
that.
Don't get it twisted. Yeah.
Right. But people can have a job and still enjoy it. It's the idea that, no, what your individual thing that you need to make like work, and the mechanism here is you need to be a mini background coordinator. And yet it's like, no, you don't. That's
one,
literally
not in her job description.
That's not in your job description. Exactly. Yeah. Right. So it's like, we actually casted you because we're in theater. There's only so much acting you can do, even like within this bit here. So you need to be demonstrative. You need to give. Yeah. You need to give so much to actually make it even noticeable.
Right. I love the detail of the. No, it doesn't matter if I don't have contacts because the audience isn't going to be able to see that kind of up close expression, anyways. So I don't need to worry about it. Yeah. It's actually better if I don't. You know.
Yeah, the point of his physical acting being more important than his expressions in his acting.
Yep.
Which is really interesting. Like
really interesting, but then also totally makes sense with what we see of him behind the scenes. You know? Like his expressions aren't like
non-existent.
Non-existent, right?
Yeah.
You know, and then then when he actually like gets up and then dons the role, then it's it comes to life.
It comes to life, and then also we see like in the way that he's leaping and jumping and stuff that he's JoJo posing. Man is like full on like kinetic, and then like once he hits the pose he wants, he holds it and frames it like perfectly. And in some ways, this is just another example of where animation just is perfect as a medium to allow these kinds of things to happen, because you can just draw the character freeze frame there, and we could assume like, oh, that's just the animation not being used here, but it's also in the literal story mechanic thing, him holding the dynamic pose as he's being lifted by the cables to
I love the bit where Kana is just like, you know, arms wide, just basically like drinking in the moment.
Yes.
You know, like
just absorbing.
It's something where with this show, and both with the action within the play, but then also the fact that we as audience members aren't going to understand the nuance of acting to the same level that the characters would.
Right.
And it's going to be even harder to portray something like that, and something that is short form compared to what they're actually doing, right? We're not seeing a feature length play, although at this point it's getting pretty close, you know, but the difference between her and Akane's acting, where Akane's is very like triumphant and like, you know, just over the top and like magnificent, right? Whereas with Kana, it's like, no, she's playing. Like she's just having a great time. You know, and that's it, and it works for the character, of course. So you know, maybe that's
it's explicitly what the character's supposed to be.
Right. So that's of course something where it's like, okay, the archetypes of the characters in the show are definitely matched to the characters in the play, so that way there is as little resistance, you know, to us, the audience, to be able to understand it. Yeah, it's good casting. Yeah, both in a meta sense and in universe.
Exactly. Right.
But I love that, because it shows like if everyone else is going to be so impressed after they've already seen all the stuff that we've gotten, I feel like it makes sense for it to come from a place of kind of effortlessness, you know, where it's this is just them effectively being themselves, right? This is them in their natural element. And so, of course. And then the way that we escalate after that is, and now here's someone who actually had his mother die, like right there.
Yeah, their acting is stuff that they still have to put on, you know, a role, a character, or what have you. Sure. But yeah, they're casted to the point that it's perfection in terms of actual directing there. So it's wonderful to see that that's what's, you know, on display here. And then, of course, the display leads to a wonderful reaction from literally everybody, everybody named character-wise, and even some of the general audience, but especially Akane, who's been, like, waiting for her to show up again.
Right, and suddenly it's like, wait, I'm fangirling again. Hang on.
Right, and I love this because, well, for a lot of the others, they just literally forgot that this is who Kana was. But Akane never forgot. And I love that so much, because from the standpoint of a super fan, someone who literally changed their life because of this person's influence in their life, which is very common. I would actually bring a specific point here, is that Kane's whole hero worship of Kana is not a unique thing, in that most people usually decide most of their life's journey by the way that they watch one or more people.
Right.
And the idea that she had been holding on to the hope that this person would show back up again, didn't know all the emotional journey that Kana had been on to actually be ready to do this again. Kana actually gets a therapeutic kind of release here in the way that Aqua probably would like as well, if he could, feel safe about doing it here. We'll see how that, continues in the next episode. But this is fucking therapeutic.
Oh, yeah.
I just love the way that they're using acting as a way to bring about characters releasing who they really are. And then, this segues nicely into Aqua with his whole, hidden side of himself.
Right.
Being something that the director goes, yeah, I know.
I love that he was able to piece together what it was, because of course. Right?
Of course, yeah. He spent so much time with Aqua.
He spent so much time with Aqua, but then also I feel like a director would be especially in tune with figuring out how to get the most out of his actors, which means there would need to be a level of understanding as well as the leadership and all that stuff, right?
Well, right, but that was he's not doing this play or what have you. So he's no, I know you know that.
I'm aware.
No. I was just meaning that in that stuff, that's something that came from so long ago. He hasn't worked with Aqua as an actor since when Aqua was a little kid.
Yeah, no,
okay.
I know.
Okay, sorry.
But it makes sense that he would be able to to piece those things together and figure it out, and what, as he's working with him, what are the things that make him tick? Why is this something that he's struggling with? How does that match with the framework that I have of this kid in my head from way back then, because he made such an impression on me, right? And so, he's able to bring it up and actually give some good insight of hey, this is what the real problem is that you don't let yourself enjoy it. If you're going to have this be just a revenge thing, you can do that. I recommend maybe taking a break and, focusing on therapy. But if you're not going to do that, then you kind of only have one option left, right?
Right.
This is a thing that triggers you when you enjoy the acting. And so if you want to deal with the, getting rid of the trigger, but not the root cause,
right,
then just don't enjoy acting anymore.
Yeah. The reason why I threw the whole thing in there was because I think there's another thing that the show is hinting at.
Okay.
The reason why he picked up so quickly and just conveniently why all this stuff works out. Remember the folders on his computer?
Yeah.
I think there's a very real likelihood that he wasn't necessarily the one that, leaked the address or what have you, or is literally, her ex,
right,
boyfriend or what have you. But as far as convenient connections and stuff that led to them, taking, what was it, Ai's one of her first side acting gigs and stuff way back when.
Yeah.
And then him kind of picking all this stuff and things like that. There's a possibility that he was maybe not necessarily stalking Ai or doing stuff that was a little bit suspect there, but he was looking into things a little bit too closely.
Okay.
And thus he found out, not because he could, just naturally pick up these kinds of things, because a lot of people were around during that time.
Sure.
And they didn't, pick up these kinds of things either. But with the kinds of stuff that they've been slowly adding on to the table of what the director actually knows about, or how involved he was in the past of Ai's whole story and things like that, this scene stood out to me as put a massive fucking pin in this, because
interesting.
We have not been given the explanation as to why he has those folders on his computer.
The thing that comes to mind for me, and there could totally be a different explanation for this, but that given that he's a director and he's more indie, small time and all that stuff, even though he's really good, And it was also, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, because you've been rewatching season 1, but it was set up that he also does a lot of the editing himself, that basically he just has a lot of the old footage. And so he's like,
totally,
I have a vibe. I'm going to go check through the old footage that I have.
Totally.
And then, you know.
No, I totally see what you're getting at here, but the show wouldn't show that then. Like, the show wouldn't show that to us in that way when it did in season 2. The folders were shown in a way that was not framed as a positive thing.
Right. We could have.
Thing.
Right. The show could have just as easily had him go into the folders and then like show that it's basically him looking through old footage. Okay. No, yeah, that makes sense.
It's I would say it's something what at the very least it's suspect, and I have no, definitive conclusion as to what it means. But this is something that ties to that directly.
Right. It is. It was intentional for the show to have it be something that would create tension within us. And while there is the possibility that that's just because, oh, hey, he's starting to figure things out.
Yep.
The
very possible.
Like theoretically, having them show him looking back through the footage might have been less tense, than just showing a folder. Yep. But yeah, that does. They could have done that.
Yeah, and given that this is the, hey, that dreadful secret that now that she's dead doesn't really matter as far as secrets go. It really doesn't matter. I'm just gonna casually drop that I know it here, just casually.
Right.
Also, in a kind of way that just, reminder, this guy effectively raised Aqua. He is effectively his father, even though, he's Goro and was a doctor and all that and went through already a childhood and everything, so he doesn't have the same emotional connection to him. He did raise him during the time when I was dead, didn't bring up his knowledge of any of that stuff.
Right. Well,
all those years.
So yeah. So here's my thoughts on why I don't think that's like weird. Even though if the show wanted him to be a plot relevant character in like the grander mystery side of things,
I mean he's somewhat, but yes, I get what you're saying.
I'm saying it would make a lot of sense to then have him be in a position where we can actually get to know him as a person, right? As opposed to the character being one that, or other characters being ones that get revealed, but we don't actually know them.
The guy, the director in the
exactly,
stands.
But as far as not bringing it up back then, Aqua's still a kid in his mind, so, right? Whereas now he's a bit more of like he's able to interact with him a bit more as a peer, And so it's the, hey, I'm gonna let you know that I know. And then as far as the other things, it's the, he spent so much time with him, so maybe it's the, even though Aqua is a reincarnated grown dude, it still might have that bit of the kid that thinks they're doing such a good job of keeping a secret, and it's like, no, it's...
Yeah, you're not very subtle.
You're not very subtle.
That's the part which has been really fun kind of going back through season 1 here, is that Aqua spoke with him as a peer from the get-go. That's what freaked him out so much, was basically that Aqua already sounded like a peer from the very first time they interact. And that's why he casted him as the creepy kid in that one little thing there. But that leads to basically him kind of being that surrogate father figure. And there's so much that you could say about him trying to just help Aqua, and I think he's been a fantastic help for Aqua, and I don't suspect anything antagonistic in the direct sense there. I think it's just more the thing that this guy will probably end up being helpful in the revenge side of the plot. I do think he's being directly helpful in this side of things here, so he is absolutely integral to the plot already just by this scene happening. But I think he's even more going to be a big deal once he ends up potentially showing what he has.
Yeah, that's a good point. He, given that he has figured out that it's a revenge thing, right? Yeah. Which totally makes sense.
Right. But it's not, that's the part I bet that Aqua wasn't able to hide at all.
Yeah, it's like that, gotcha, okay, I get it. Yeah, maybe, because one, he could be a red herring for the mystery thing, but he could also be the, I'm, because I'm not sure about this and I don't know if you are truly convicted about this and what I want to do about that, there could be the things where he has extra information that he ends up giving to Aqua later, and that's why the folders are important.
That's my most positive read on the folders, is that it's basically going to be something of like, oh, here's just some general footage I have of I and others and such like that.
And hence him not, or not him, hence the show not revealing it to us yet, because it's going to be important down the road, but they also don't want us to know what the information is.
Right. And so for now, I think it's absolutely a red herring situation where you're meant to suspect him a little bit, but he's not like he's not like the X that, leaked everything.
Part of the entertainment of these sort of whodunit stories is having the tension about who done it all the way up until you find out. Right. If you just find out at the end, but there's no tension on the way to get there, then there's, it's okay.
Totally. Yeah. But he is one of those characters that in his archetype, the way he's positioned in the cast, in the actual story of Oshinoko, he is absolutely one that could be the in a very boring way, in my opinion, the final, the final boss, basically, for Aqua's revenge. But I don't think he's that. I think what he is someone that occupies a very specific space in the entertainment industry that Aqua will now be able to ask questions directly in his investigation, and he'll be helpful. He'll actually be able to be like, oh, here's some more stuff that I know that might push you down some things there.
He's the mysterious mentor with a secret.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right. It's tropes as tried and true as, everything. But, I do think, however, that there's slightly more to it than that. I don't think he's just going to be the helpful person there. I think there's something potentially else there that needs to be explored. Because at the very least, he's been using Aqua.
Yeah,
at the very least,
it definitely.
That's something where it totally makes sense in this industry. So it's not it's not necessarily an antagonistic thing. It's just that was his game.
You're entering an industry of adults, and so we're going to use you as a tool, because that's what we do.
That's what we do.
And then the balance of but they're also a kid. Well, that's you try and figure that out as best you can.
Yeah.
But you know what he's kind of giving me vibes of now is he's giving me vibes of Aaron's dad with the key. Where he kind of has the next definitive point of plot progress, and it's the once we figure out what that is, that's where Aqua will get that next concrete bit of information. Because right now Aqua's fishing, but he doesn't actually know where the fish are. He's wanting to turn in this great performance so that he becomes more well known in the industry, so that he has hopes of eventually meeting them. But right now he's fully acting in this performance itself won't get him the information he needs. It's the step in order to keep that path going.
Right. Yeah.
But
so here's my really whack theory. He makes a point that he had acting ability, he has acting experience or what have you. I'll bet at some point he probably had a crush on I or something like that,
or some kind of
some kind of interest,
or some kind of personal connection to I that maybe went outside of the industry.
Yeah. I think that this is what it is. That's my guess there. I don't have anything about the outside of the industry side of things, because I was an orphan. She was in a home and everything like that. So I don't think that that's what this is specifically. It could be that. That'd be really cool, because he did live with his grandma, I believe. So that could line up with things. But the idea that he's able to grasp this vengeance side of things could be because he too also feels some level of, at the very least, just heartbreak of oh yeah, she died, and clearly she was the mother of someone that I've grown to care for. And so I'm kind of aligned with you, Aqua, a little bit. I want to find out what happened too.
Yeah.
And that could be fun to see them bridge that gap there.
If they wanted, I don't think they'll do this, but just for the sake of throwing it out there, because Aqua is going on an assumption right now that I believe is a faulty one, that the birth father is the one who leaked the address.
Right.
There is the possibility that he might actually be the birth father. He had nothing to do with her dying, right? And it was just they did a very good job of just keeping it whatever. you know?
And just someone else leaked it.
Right, and then someone else leaked it.
I mean, that'd be a very fun twist, because then you get the catharsis of, oh, yeah, I'm actually your dad.
Right,
you know?
I was doing my best to look after you and all this stuff, and also trying to help mentor you and guide you and stuff, and I totally get the revenge thing. All that stuff, but like...
Right.
No,
that's a good, I would say, it's a good prediction, I would say. It's not a bad one. It's one that is of a lot of convenience as far as things go. But it's the same kind of thing for, seeking narrative poignancy rather than going for what would necessarily be realistic here.
Exactly. I don't think it has a high likelihood of happening, but I think it's an option that the creator could choose if they wanted to, and it could work.
Right, because right now it's not really important who said about the situation that I would end up dead. It'd also be very fun at some point in the story to have, him question the whole thing and be like, why did there have to be someone that, could, make this all work? Stalkers have social media, and social media is extremely powerful, and they...
Right,
and it was convenient that he came to the hospital and the apartment, but it's still like, you don't know, dude. You don't know.
He's, it makes a lot of sense that could be something where Aqua is looking for reason so that he has something to blame, either something or someone. Yeah,
it's
and also chase after. Right, give purpose and meaning to
the
pain.
Yeah.
The pain and what otherwise could have just been a a fucked up thing that happened.
Right.
But it doesn't have to be that,
Yeah.
And so that's where it gets back to Aqua then as the main character and his personal journey and struggle and all that stuff. That'll be really fun to see.
Yeah, excited for that.
Explored.
But yeah, then the dramatic just animation and raw
biting the shoulder
and everything with the red black star eye coming out. I love it. I love also that it's so violently different than Aqua's color palette and stuff like that. This is just a small little detail, but the idea that the star is red and black, you got blood and darkness for the whole idea of revenge and it being this all-consuming thing, but also the idea that there's already been this shadow figure that has kind of possessed him with basically this whole this pain here, effectively Goro's representation, manifesting in the Aqua persona or what have you.
Right.
But I love the way in which anime takes stuff like, eyes to use and stuff like this, but having it be something that also has this bit of red that might be just him just lusting for blood, basically. Like, this is his revenge and stuff. But, it kind of reminds me that little bit of just eyes color, because her whole thing was that hot pink, Okay. And instead, it's no longer any kind of joy in this.
Right. There's no warmth.
It's just blood red. I don't know. That's probably nothing, but anyhow, this is really gorgeous animated final scene, and then of course cliffhangering us right at the sword clash. Like, this is goddamn like.
Full on action anime.
Yeah, full on action anime. But actually, like, does he stab the main character here? Or is he getting stabbed?
I don't. It would make sense.
Whose blade is the one that gets disarmed here? Is that
Aqua's.
His?
Yeah.
Yes, it is his. You're right.
So it would make sense that he got stabbed. He, with how he's acting, it doesn't seem like any kind of, slowing down and all that, right?
Right.
It's okay, you got rid of my sword, I still have my teeth, I'm going to kill you,
Right. My thought with this was basically that he's still following the direction for the play here. He's delving into these emotions, and he's doing so successfully because...
it's real for him.
Well, right, but because he's also hating the acting. He's using that as a way to not have a panic attack.
Right, so that he can actually function rather than just shut down. Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the read you got too? That he's...
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because my thought with that is, do you think then this will be the thing that sunders his connection to I? Because I told him, or asked him, when she died, he died in her arms there, like, do you want to act? Like, like basically like she drew the connection in her moment of death there with acting. And that could be literally the reason why he hates it so much now. Like he can't enjoy it because it's what she wanted. But then if he schisms from that and basically is like, no, I won't do that anymore. I'll just be revenge here.
Well, and that's what's rough about any kind of revenge story, right? Is that, okay, but is that what the person who died would have wanted?
Right.
Like,
I think we're going there.
That's the eternal stopgap, right, for something like that.
Yeah.
And usually it's just that people don't think about it because it'll be like in the heat of the moment. But in the more long-term thing, it's like, okay, but would they have actually wanted this for you? You know?
Okay, cool. I feel like we're going there. I feel like that's what this is, and he's going to lose a little bit of his connection to through this performance. It'll be therapeutic, but it might go a little bit cold.
I'm wondering if it'll end up turning into something where he's actually like biting the dude here. But I wonder if it'll turn into something where he actually ends up hurting the guy. And then they use that to go into the whole like, dangers of method acting, and all that stuff, right?
Cool.
But one of the other things that if any like theater nerds are here and have gotten to this point in the discussion, is intentional ad-libbing in a performance, right? Like in a live performance that hasn't been done before, is that a thing? Like
that definitely feels like a thing.
Like, because I would think that it wouldn't be, because if it goes bad, you can't take it back, and there are other people there and all that stuff, and can you keep it on time and everything? And if it is a thing, I can imagine it would only happen with the pros that really know how to do something like that, and still make it work.
I feel like every time I've gone to a play multiple times, like every time I've gone to a play like 3, 4, or 5 times, it's not 100% of the same.
And I get that because if you have something where like, someone slightly forgets a line, or there's a production issue, or a prop isn't where it should be, then you kind of ad-lib to keep it going.
Totally.
But I think all right, here, let's actually do it differently and not tell anybody.
Right, but I think that's the difference between what they see versus what we see as the audience.
Sure.
Because the audience might not ever remember this
right, and ideally they wouldn't, right? And that's why I want to ask if there's anybody that like does do that, like
or did do that, or what have you.
Or did do that,
That's
like kind of like theater stuff. Does this happen behind the scenes?
Yeah,
because that stood out to me.
Yeah.
But
all right, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out our Patreon up here. You can watch full-length timer reactions there as well, and any level of support there gets you access to our Discord, where you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general. Also, be sure to check out our Twitch channel. So yeah, if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.